Wide receiver help might very well be on the way to New England, and the Patriots very well could be getting a wide receiver one for the 2025 NFL season. You guys are hearing it first. Cooper Kupp has interest in joining the New England Patriots per sources. Now, this is coming from Andrew Callahan. We all know Andrew Callahan, very, very reliable source when it comes to the Patriots, when it comes to Boston sports. You guys know too. I don't just float out every rumor that involves the Patriots. Before I hit that record button, I make sure that there is a level of legitimacy behind it. And everything that Andrew Callahan says has legitimacy to it. He is saying, and I quote, according to a league source, Kupp is curious about the prospect of playing in New England and has shared that curiosity with some close to him. Kupp has personal and professional connections to the Patriots, starting with ex-college teammate and fellow wideout Kendrick Bourne, who has reportedly or repetitively advocated for Kupp to come to New England on social media. The two remain friendly, sources say. The first thing I thought of when I heard that quote, by the way, Kupp is telling people close to him. So Kendrick Bourne. He's telling Kendrick Bourne, I have interest in coming to the New England Patriots. Andrew Callahan is very, very friendly with a lot of former and current Patriots players. Now, I'm not trying to dig into this too much, but what I think is going on here is that Andrew Callahan hits up his sources, hits up Kendrick Bourne, asks his thoughts about Cooper Kupp coming to the Patriots, and KB tells him a little something about how Cooper Kupp also is interested in joining the New England Patriots. By the way, I just want to say, if Cooper Kupp does come to the New England Patriots, you can't get rid of Kendrick Bourne. Because I really believe that if Cooper Kupp does come to the Patriots, it's not just for the money, it's not just for the opportunity, but he is coming to play with one of his best friends and former college teammates in Kendrick Bourne. It would be a very, very bad look on the Patriots to bring in Kupp, promising him that reunion just for the Patriots to then trade or release Kendrick Bourne. So again, if this does happen, I'm not trying to dig into this too much, but I do believe that solidifies that Kendrick Bourne will be staying with the Patriots, which I think should have happened all along. I also think that the addition of Cooper Kupp would help somebody like Kendrick Bourne, who has really been struggling over the last few years. Even whether Cooper Kupp comes here or not, I do believe that this is going to be a very good year for Kendrick Bourne, because in 2021 under Josh McDaniels, the only year we saw, KB with Josh McDaniels, he had a career year. He put up just under 900 total yards. You add Cooper Kupp to that mix, and I think that Kendrick Bourne, as crazy as this sounds, could have one of the top 3 best seasons he's ever had in his career. This is what Kendrick Bourne had to say about Cooper Kupp and how Cooper Kupp has pushed Kendrick Bourne to be better. He said, and I quote, he talked to me and told me and I quote, bro, you're a better player than me, excuse me. I just work harder than you. And that's a big statement from somebody that is the best in the league. I think that also speaks volumes to the type of player that Cooper Kupp is. And these are the type of intangibles that never go away, and the intangibles that you essentially just cannot teach. Cooper Kupp has that mentality of working hard, putting in the work, not just relying on the God-given talent. And I think that, again, goes back to the mentality that really needs to get across with these young Patriots wide receivers. You bring in somebody like Cooper Kupp, that is not just going to help you on the field, but that is also going to help you in the locker room when it comes to Javon Baker, when it comes to Jalen Polk, guys who their first year in New England this past season were very flawed because they didn't have anybody to rely on. They didn't have that direction. Cooper Kupp is going to make sure that they are motivated and make sure that they're in a good place mentally to start thriving and hopefully start to develop. Now, you guys might be asking yourself, well, Colby, you were very, very against just, month and a half ago about the idea of trading for Cooper Kupp. So why are you so hyped right now? Why do you want this to happen? I did not want to trade for Cooper Kupp. There's the difference. I want Cooper Kupp on New England, but I want to sign him as a free agent. I don't want to have to give up anything for Cooper Kupp. When you look at Kupp, he's 32 years old. You also look at the contract that he currently has. He had 2 more years left under his contract with the Rams. In 2025, he had an expected cap number of $29.7 million. In 2026, he had a cap number of $23.3 million. All this for a guy that does not consistently get on the field. 12 games in 2024, 12 games in 2023, 9 games in 2022. The last and only time that he played a full season was in 2021. Actually, I think he played a full season in 2019 before they extended it to an extra game. But last time he's played a full season was in 2021, where we know the Rams went to the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl, and that year Cooper Kupp, I believe he was all pro, but he also was a Pro Bowler that year, also eclipsing just under 2,000 yards, which is insane. He eclipsed 1,900 yards, 1,947 to be exact. So you're right. I didn't want to trade for that guy because I didn't want to have to give up draft compensation, especially for a team that needs that draft compensation to get good and quality players in the draft on 4, potentially even 5-year rookie deals. And I also didn't think it was realistic. I think that's a big reason why the Patriots don't have DK Metcalf right now. Whether you like it or not, this team is not willing to part with high-end draft capital, especially if they believe the player is not worth it. The only player that I think would potentially get the Patriots to move on from a first or second round pick would be somebody like A.J. Brown. I believe that if it came down to only a third round pick for DK Metcalf, the Patriots would have him. Reports came out that there was a team involved with the DK Metcalf sweepstakes that was only willing to give up a third round pick, willing to give him the contract, but not willing to give up the second round pick. I think that just screams the New England Patriots. So with that being said, now that Cooper Kupp is a free agent, now that he doesn't have that massive contract, you can basically shred it, push that old contract to the side and say, Cooper Kupp, here's my pitch. You come to New England, we're going to give you a 1, maybe 2-year deal. They front load the contract. You're going to be our wide receiver 1. You're going to be the vocal point of our offense. You are going to thrive here in the slot, be our starting slot receiver, which, by the way, the Patriots don't currently have. That is a very, very important piece and a prominent piece in Josh McDaniels' offense. And you're going to, again, get that ability to work with somebody like Drake May. In terms of what I would be willing to give him contract-wise, I would only give him somewhere between $18 to $23 million per year. I wouldn't go over. The Patriots do have the money to be able to make that work also. They have roughly, from what's been reported, $50 million still left in cap space to be able to work with. They started with 127, made a bunch of moves. Now they're down to 50. This would still give them enough room to make a couple of moves, be able to sign their draft class, and go into the regular season with a little bit of extra cap space. Now, this, of course, is before the Patriots extend any players, release any players, trade any players. A lot of ways a team can still create cap space if need be. But even if they don't want to do that, you can get Cooper Kupp on the books for a very minimal contract. To me, while I do think there's going to be many suitors for him, I feel like this only comes down to 2 teams, at least in my mind. 1, the New England Patriots, and 2, the Vikings. The Vikings are going to be a team that is a true contender. But the scary part is that they don't have a quarterback right now. I mean, is it going to be J.J. McCarthy? Rumors are swirling that maybe the Vikings even trade J.J. McCarthy. So that's what I would be pitching to Cooper Kupp. You want to go to the Vikings? You want to reunite with O'Connell, whatever the head coach name is of the Vikings. Name's escaping me right now. I believe it's O'Connell, though. He used to work with the Rams, so he has a connection with Cooper Kupp. But you go to the Vikings, you don't have a quarterback, and we're not going to be able to pay you as much, and you are not going to be wide receiver 1. You're going to be wide receiver 3. You come to New England, yeah, we're not expecting to be true competitors. We're not expecting to make the playoffs, but you're damn straight we're going to pay you more, and you're damn straight that we're going to put you in a position where you're the wide receiver 1, vocal point of this offense, and you're damn straight that you get to reunite with Kendrick Bourne. In terms of the expectations, let me share this with you guys real quick, just to give you a little bit of insight on what to expect and how Cooper Kupp, as of late, has been performing. These are his numbers this past season with the Rams. Had an overall PFF grade of 71.2 that ranked 49th out of a qualifying 98 wide receivers, a 72.1 overall receiving grade that ranked 49th out of 98 receivers. He was targeted 97 times, 67 receptions, 710 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I want to make this clear. Cooper Kupp cannot stay on the field. But when he is on the field, he plays just as good as he ever has. If he could have, over the last couple seasons, played an entire season, he would have put up over 1,000 yards. So you are getting the effects when he's on the field of a guy that is a wide receiver one, the guy that is a 1,000-yard receiver. But he's just not someone you can consistently rely on to be on the field. That's why the Rams are releasing him. That's why he's not worth that high-end contract. Scrolling down here, though, when Matthew Stafford was targeting him this past season, Stafford had a passer rating of 110.8. The average depth of target was 8.1 yards, and Cooper Kupp only had 2 drops, again, on 67 receptions on 97 targets. Now, looking at his 2023 numbers, because I do think he has been, declining each year, as you would expect from a wide receiver that's in his 30s. Change this one, too, actually, real quick. All right, there we go. So we had an overall grade of 72.4. That ranked 41st out of a qualifying 85 wide receivers. Had a 72.2 overall receiving grade. Again, that ranked 42 out of a qualifying 85 wide receivers. He was targeted 92 times, 59 receptions, 737 yards, and 5 touchdowns. When Matthew Stafford was targeting him, Stafford had a passer rating of 93.4, an average depth of target of 8.6 yards, and a total of 5 drops. I think 2022, was that the reason or the season he didn't play that many games? I think that was the season 2022, he only played in, I want to make sure I get this right. 2022, he only played in 9 games, but in the 9 games he played, he looked pretty damn good. I mean, he was an elite receiver. Again, it's just the injuries that we've seen piling on top of each other. It's the injuries he faced in 2022 that he's really not necessarily been able to come back from. But when you look at the needs of the Patriots, not only do they need a wide receiver one, but the Patriots also need a wide receiver too. Cooper Kupp comes in and immediately is the best wide receiver the Patriots have had since probably 2019 Julian Edelman. Actually, I don't think that's a hot take. That's quite literally the best wide receiver that Cooper Kupp has been if he comes to the Patriots. Since 2019 Julian Edelman, Cooper Kupp will be the best wide receiver that the Patriots have had. I think having him allows some of these other receivers to play a little bit more realistically where they should be. Cooper Kupp is your number 1 wide receiver. You got Kayshon Boutte on the outside. You got Matt Collins out on the other side, and you have Kendrick Bourne mixing into the mix also. So this is where I kick it to you guys. What are your thoughts on the rumors that Cooper Kupp has interest in the Patriots? One thing I will say, take this with a grain of salt, is that I have heard from sources that the Patriots are also interested in Cooper Kupp. Now, I say take it with a grain of salt because that hasn't been reported by Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, those high-end names that, when they say something, it's legit. So take it with a grain of salt, but I would not be surprised if there is mutual interest. And now that he's officially been released from the Rams, I think he could be signed within the next couple of days. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news, thoughts, reactions, and breakdowns. But until next time, appreciate you guys for watching, and go Pats.